Shalom, it's Izzy, your Hebrew teacher here, and this is Hebrew Chapters with Holy Language Institute. Look, we are reading the first chapter from the book of Leviticus, and please don't run away. Leviticus scares some people, but I promise you this is going to be a very meaningful study, reading through Leviticus chapter 1, if you want to cultivate your relationship with God. Because we are going to learn in this chapter about coming closer to God, drawing near to Him. So, don't go away. Let's pray together, and then we'll get started working through this chapter, word by word, with me as your tour guide. Thank you, Elohim God, for this exciting start. We're reading the first chapter of the book of Leviticus. We can hear something of your heart's cry in this chapter. We can learn something about your desire to be close with each individual on the whole planet, your desire to have a relationship with people. I pray that we could come to know you better as we read. I pray that we could come to know this language better that you chose to communicate with your people Israel and with humanity through. Thank you for the joy of reading the same holy texts that our Rabbi Yeshua of Nazareth read pretty much every year of his life, going to the synagogue in his town on Shabbat and reading and learning these very texts. I pray that your Ruach, your Spirit, would help us. Amen. So, the name of this book, as you can see here, is Vayikra in Hebrew, and the name of the first Torah portion, or parasha, in this book is also Vayikra. And, as you can see here, the very first word in this book and parasha and chapter is that word. So we will be reading through this word by word. I will be stopping, breaking down these Hebrew words for you. We'll be identifying the three-letter verbal roots that all Hebrew words are built from. And, as I had mentioned, we are going to learn some things about drawing near to God. There's an interesting word in this chapter that actually shows up in the Greek and English versions of the New Testament that I think you will find quite interesting. And there's also some wordplay that the Apostle Paul uses that we get a whiff of in this chapter. So let's begin reading together. Vayikra. So the book and the chapter opens with the word and. Then we have the verbal root kara, which means to call, cry out, invite or summon. Kara, so Vayikra, and he called. And you'll see here that the letter Aleph is little. It's diminished. And in fact, see that little circle over the letter? It indicates in the footnote that this is indeed a diminished letter Aleph. There's a reason for it. And I go into some of this in the 40 lessons of Hebrew Quest at holylanguage.com. So I'm not actually going to spend a lot of time on why the scribes write this letter Aleph tiny like that. If you want to learn more about that, go through the lessons of Hebrew Quest. You'll learn what the letter Aleph represents as a pictograph, and you will learn some possibilities for why it's itty bitty like that. So for now, we'll just point out that that is indeed there. So, and he called El to Moshe, Moses. Vayidaber, verbal root deval, to speak or communicate. So, and he spoke. And then here we have the holy name of God, spelled Yod He Vav He in Hebrew. I'll be following the Jewish tradition in these Hebrew chapter studies of saying Adonai in place of God's name. Adonai means my master or Lord, and is why most Christian Bibles today have the term the Lord, where there's God's name in the text. Most scholars believe God's name was originally pronounced Yahweh, and if you read God's name in these texts. I invite you to do that also. Just do it reverently and, in the appropriate contexts, right? So anyway, and spoke Adonai elav, to him. Me ohel is a tent. Me ohel, from the tent. Moed, of meeting. You may be familiar with this word moed because it's also the word for, quote, the feasts of the Lord, or the appointed times, as they're called in Leviticus chapter 23. So we learn from this that appointed times aren't just appointments in time, but they're also appointments in space. Here we see that this is the Ohel Moed, the tent of meeting, or the tent of Moedim. Lemol, verb root amal, to say. So lemol, to say. Daber, imperative, speak. El, to B'nai. Ben is son. B'nai is sons of Israel. Ve'amalta, and you, amal, say, alehem, to them. Adam, now this is interesting because it's usually translated as a man, if a man. But there's another Hebrew word for man, and that is ish. The Hebrew word for man is ish, and the Hebrew word for woman is isha. You just have that feminine ending a on the end of ish. Here we have a different word. We have Adam. This was the name of the very first human being, Adam. It's also a reference to all human beings after him. So if you're talking about the children of Adam, or the sons of man, you're talking about human beings. This is the context for Yeshua, talking about himself as the, quote, son of man, the Ben HaAdam. There are prophecies about the Ben HaAdam, the son of man, that would indicate that that's a messianic title, and that's part of it, but it also simply means a human being. So when Yeshua self-identified as the Son of Man, he was identifying with humanity. He was saying, I'm one of you guys. Here, it has that sense of a human being. It's interesting because that doesn't just indicate Israel, it indicates humanity. It's interesting that God uses this word in the opening lines of the book of Leviticus. So anyway, we'll read on. Adam, ki. Here this word means when. It's quite a broad word in terms of the nuances that it can have. Yakriv. So when an Adam, a human being, wants to yakriv, the verbal root there is karav, and it means to come close or to draw near. It's quite a meaningful word. This is something that happens. It's a relational word. It's something that happens in the context of a relationship. One person coming close or drawing near to another person. This would be the verbal root probably in the mind of Yeshua's younger half-brother Yaakov, or James, when he wrote his epistle, and he wrote in James chapter 4 verse 8, draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. So this is the idea there. He was saying karav to Elohim, and he will karav to you. He's using this word. So can you see this is very much about relationship. I'm actually going to break down this word for you a little more here, and then we'll move on. As a preposition, the Hebrew word karov, which comes from this same root, means near or close. So for instance, if you have a relative, a close relative, or a neighbor that you live close to, in Hebrew you would call that relative or neighbor your karov. Hopefully that gives you a slightly better sense of the concept of nearness to God, drawing near to God. I'll give you another related word. I'm going to give you 4 of them. Here's the second one that comes from this verbal root karav, and that is the word kerev. You have a kerev. Your kerev is your insides, your internal organs. In fact, that word is used later in this chapter. Watch for it. Your internal organs are very close to you. you are very near to your internal organs. That's a picture of drawing near to God, of a close relationship with God. Interesting, isn't it? The third word I have for you that comes from this verbal root is krav. The word krav is the Hebrew word that means battle or war. You may have heard of the system of self-defense and combat, hand-to-hand combat, that the Israeli military uses. It's called...
Thanks for watching this trailer. To get this whole talk in audio or video format, go to holylanguage.com and subscribe. I'll see you there.